Would relegation be a sorry for our lateness? Would relegation be a blessing or a disaster for West Ham? That's the subject of tonight's calling show. Now we did have a few callers lined up to come into the show, but they've pulled out or are 50-50 now. So if you would like to get involved in the show, we'll start it. I'm going to post the link in a comment section. And if you're in the chat, you can get involved in it. If you want to call in, come along. Thank you to OK Jerseys. I've got my OK jersey on. Scott ain't got his on. I can see.
I've literally just walked in the door. Otherwise, I would have.
But I've got my OK jerseys. You can get 8% off with discount code Nicky in the on the website. If you click the QR code up here, it's just here. Click the QR code, get you £15 football shirts. Scott, the fuck you been?
I've had a nightmare journey. I've been sitting on the bloody M1, M25, had a puncture at Alton Towers, had to get the AA out to sort it, had to go and find a mobile tyre place to get that sorted. And literally, as I said, walked through the door 5 minutes ago. So, great afternoon, mate.
Right, we've got to call us straight in. So, Ned, it's up to you what you want to talk about. What we're going to be talking about is would relegation be a blessing or a disaster for West Ham? So, Ned, how are you, mate?
Hey, guys. I'm calling from sunny Southern California.
I
actually met you, Nicky, once in Prague,
I
the Conference League. Anyway, yeah. So first time calling in, and I just wanted to chat about. I think the board and the protests, and I think a lot of misunderstanding. I think with the fans and calling into shows like TalkSport and things like that. So look, I love the club, and I get the frustration, but I think a lot of the noise around the board and the protests gets misrepresented, especially when certain fans go into TalkSport or other shows like that and make us sound ignorant. You know, it hurts the cause. It makes the protests look like they're coming from people who don't actually know what's happening inside the club. The idea that our board hasn't spent is just false. And I think that is something that people say all the time on TalkSport. Since 2020, we spent around £642 million, which is 10th across all of teams in Europe. We've spent money. It's just the problem isn't spending. It's the bad recruitment and the poor strategy from the top down. As much as I hate agreeing with Simon Jordan, he's absolutely right on one thing. And there's no new owner is going to walk in, buy West Ham, and then spend another $1 billion or $2 billion on a brand new stadium that's purpose built for football. That's just not going to happen. So I think the problem is figuring out, how we move forward without confusing what is actually possible and what's fantasy. Right. And the other thing is we can't even put the stands in, bring the stands forward because it's shared with athletics and concerts and now even MLB. Right. So we would have to pay for every time we put it in and remove it. And that's just not financially feasible. Look, I hate Sullivan and I hate everything he does. And there's bad recruitment from the top to bottom. But I think it's about coming together and finding out, what actually is the route forward and how we move forward.
So Ned, you made some great points there, by the way. What would you say was the way forward? Because I'll let you have a little go at telling me what you think the way forward is. But I'm going to tell you a little bit about TalkSport. And I don't know whether you're talking about Dan. I don't know whether you're talking about me.
No, not you guys. I just mean like just regular other. After a match, they have disgruntled fans calling in, and
Listen,
and I think.
Ned, it doesn't matter. It's fine. Everyone's opinion is welcome there, whether it's against us, whether it's against Dan, whether it's against anyone that's on TalkSport. Everyone's opinion is welcome, and that's the great thing about opinions. Everyone's allowed to have one. But what would you say would be the ideal situation going forward? Because what we've got to start to think about here, Ned, is okay. We want him to go. You are correct. He spent money? Absolutely spent money, right? But he spent money in the wrong places.
Exactly. Yeah.
Now, when you look at what, say, Leicester did, right? Leicester have invested a lot of money into a training ground. They've also invested a lot of money into a stadium. The King Power Stadium was not there when I went to Filbert Street, right? Yeah. So they've also won the Premier League in that time, right? So these smaller clubs, it is possible. Now, when you say no one's going to come in and spend £1 billion and £2 billion to build a stadium, I think that is dependent, right? And listen, we're not saying this is going to happen overnight. We're not saying that someone's going to come in and lay £2 billion on the table and go, right, build me a stadium. We want it ready for next season. We're not talking about that. We're talking about a 10, 15-year plan, right? Because I'm going to tell you now, Ned, Neil, have you been to the London Stadium? First of
I
all,
have once, just once. Yeah.
okay. So you can see that arena is not fit for football,
No.
right? We're a football team. Our predominant business, as they want to call it, business. It's not business for me. It's not business for Scott. But our business is football, right? So if you say, let's say, for instance, you had a restaurant, and you was trying to run a restaurant, but the restaurant was being run out of a boat. Would you then go and look at it and go, right, it's a great restaurant, but I can't run it out of a boat, so I'm going to have to build a racking restaurant to run it out of, right? So that is where my things. If anyone comes into this club, because the stadium as it is losing clubs fans, right? I'll just start on this point for a minute, and I'll go on to the spending in a minute. But that stadium as it is losing clubs fans. People hate the place; they can't stand it, right? The only way that a new owner, right, can come in and get the fans to come back is to build a stadium fit for football, right? Now, we're not saying it's got to be £1 billion, £2 billion, £3 billion stadium like what Tottenham have got, but an arena fit for football, you know? By the time we get there, we don't know what league we're going to be in, you know? That stadium, if we go down and get relegated, is going to look like a joke. It already looks like a joke, if I'm honest. But it's going to look like a joke, right? So anyone that wants to, and I'm not saying this is going to happen, by the way. This is pure fantasy. But anyone that came in may think that they need to build an arena before they go and start to invest back into the team. You know, before they start cleaning out the mess that David Sullivan has got us in.
Yeah, I mean, I totally agree. I think that's the problem, right? Is if we get relegated, then there goes a big part of why someone may want to buy us, right? Especially being in London, you know, we won't have the TV rights anymore. We won't have the fanfare about being in the Premier League. And I think, you know, we have to focus on the team first, build the team, make sure that we are consistent, make sure that we are, you know, regularly in the Premier League year after year, which we have been. But obviously, I feel like, as you've said before, and I think you're right, is the owners have been hoping for many years now that there's just three worse teams. And I think we need to slowly try to re-solidify our position up the table, and then from there, you know, we could entice maybe some more investment coming in from outside of Sullivan and the Gold family and stuff like that. And the other thing I want to mention too that's really bad for us, you know, is if we do get relegated. I don't know if you guys know, but recently they took out a massive £145 million loan against future Premier League payments, right? So if we get relegated, you know, that money is vanished, especially if we don't get promoted again the following season. Not to mention there was another 40 million still outstanding on future payments loans already. And then on top of that, you know, David Sullivan hasn't. When was the last time he actually invested money into the club? You know, you were talking recently about, you know, he didn't want to invest unless the Czech guy invested money as well, and it was like this game of cat and mouse. But that's another problem, right? Is they're not actually investing the money. And so if we do get relegated, then we're going to be in a real financial hole, and that's only going to make it harder for them to sell, because who's going to want to buy a club that's 200 million in debt, right? So they have to buy the rights to the club and then pay off the debt, or, you know, fix the debt somehow. So I just think right now there's nothing you can do with the stadium. I think, as you said, I think it's more of a 10-15 year plan, and I think right now we need to focus on the things that are more controllable or that we have control over.
So what are those?
That's the thing. When you look at it, is that we know that the stadium is not going to be a quick fix, and as we've seen in the European seasons, that the stadium is bearable so long as the football on the pitch and what we're seeing is competitive. The problem we're seeing at the moment is they've invested over the years, but they've allowed the squad size, the age of the squad to dwindle and increase, and this has then led to the problems that we're now seeing. You know, it was bearable over the London Stadium when we were pushing up, fighting around European places, when we had them European nights. It was bearable. We can take that so long as we're seeing good investment. We're seeing a team on the pitch that's worthwhile turning up and watching. Then we can work on the stadium. You know, I think we're all agreed. We know it's not a quick fix. It's not an overnight fix. But this is where the big problem lies with the ownership that we got. They don't look beyond the next season. Everything they're doing is investing and penny pinching and trying to save. So long as we stay up, we're fine, because we're still getting, like you said, they've looked at offsetting that debt on future payments for being in the Premier League. You know, the crazy thing is now, like all that money's going to disappear if we go down. It, with what we were saying, a blessing or disaster, it would be a disaster because this club goes down now in the situation it's in, losing the fans, the squad the way it is, with no fighters, nothing like that. We ain't bouncing back.
No.
You know, and we could fall and become another Wigan or a club like that.
Luton
Just
or something like yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I'm going to be honest, right? And this is the subject of the show. And I'll go into the player investment in a second, and I'll go on to why I think them people on TalkSport are not necessarily right, but the message is the correct one. And I know what you're saying about maybe they're not saying the right things, but when it comes to that stadium and the way David Sullivan runs his club, I've never known. God's honest truth, I've never known a worse owner in my life. Right? Every year that passes, and this is what I think I said yesterday, is that every year that passes that David Gold has been gone, it seems like something else comes up, and the way that they run this club, he could put money into it. Right? They keep on saying about these PSR issues and everything else, like you said earlier about Kretinsky. He won't put money unless Kretinsky puts in, right? But we was told you can invest money. Like David Sullivan was told you can invest money and avoid these PSR issues. He's chosen not to, right? Now, this is a massive, but why would you if you was him? Like, if you think about it, he paid £80 million, like a share of £80 million for this club, right? The club is badly in debt, yeah? Still, one of the promises made from him when we moved into the stadium is that we would be debt-free. Now, we weren't debt-free. We were debt-free from the bank. He just transferred that debt onto himself. And every year or every couple of years, he collects loan payments from us, interest payments, as high as 15% on a loan. Now, if you was to get a loan against your home or anything like that, it would be nowhere near 15%. If you was to get a loan of that magnitude from the bank, it would be nowhere near that, right? Apparently, he's just collected £39 million or something in that region from interest alone, right? That is coming out of the club. That is not, as you said, when is the last time he's invested any money? He hasn't.
I don't think he has, no.
He's never invested any money, never invested any of his own money, right? So when people like Simon Jordan are turning around saying, well, you bid for the club and you come up with the hundreds of millions of pounds that it costs to run this football club. It doesn't cost hundreds of million pounds because the club at the moment, right, in the Premier League, generate hundreds of millions of pounds. He may have put a small investment in when we went down to the Championship, just to keep us afloat, just to make it so we can get competitive, so we can get people like Kevin Nolan and Scott Parker stayed for a bit, and Papa Diop and Vaz Tay and people like that. But apart from that, he's put nothing in, right? Nothing. There we go. Glenn says 30 million one time, I remember, right? So if you think to the fact that he's put 110 million pounds in, everything else has come from the club, right? So what he's done by not putting in, and this is what you talk about when you talk about custodians of a club, right? You've got to have someone that's competent in running that club. He's not competent, right? So all of that money that he spent has never been his. It's been ours, right? The club's money generated by revenue, generated by, by merchandise, and we don't get anything from the stadium these days, but we pay very little peppercorn rent. It's all been generated by that, and he has wasted it by not implementing somebody in there that can actually know what they're talking about and buy people, not his mates, not his mate Will Salthouse, right? And everything you think about what he does, this club, is to the detriment of the club. It is run like a shambles. It is the worst run club. I wouldn't even say in the Premier League. I would say I know people in League Two running their clubs better than this. This is a disaster, right? And every year I think Gold was the one.
Voice of reason. In a lot of
the voice of reason, yeah. I think he had these fucking fandangled ideas, and I think Gold used to keep him sort of like, no, David, come on, we've done this and all that. So when you look, bear in mind. Somebody just said there, Everton. Let's take Everton, for instance, right? Everton, a very similar position club to us. Yes, people say they're a bigger club. There was a bigger club in the 80s and all that. But in terms of Premier League era, they're a very similar sized club to us, right? They've built a new stadium. They've flirted with relegation many, many times, but always found managers and players to get them out of it, right? They've also had a points deduction. Somebody just said this here, got a new owner and survived in Premier League, look very comfortable now. Yes, they got beat the other day, but they look comfortable, right? This move was meant to be the one that took us to, not my words, but their words, to Bayern Munich levels, to Arsenal levels, to Man United levels, and all that. And we're dwindling down at the bottom. That £642 million spent is nothing more. It's not a lot more in terms of what we've got in as well. Yeah, it's not a lot more than probably what Bournemouth have spent.
I want to make clear, I'm not a fan of the board. That's not what I'm saying. I was just saying.
I understand.
I'm just saying, like, I think they need to focus on spending money, smartly. I think that's the problem, and that's exactly what you're alluding to, right? Is they're not even spending any money.
Ned, I think the issue is we haven't got any money. We haven't got
Well,
any.
that's what we're saying. We have the money if they actually want to invest. Like you're alluding to, the Evertons of this world, they have owners that come in and they invest lots of money, and that's the problem. And I think that's it's all loan payments against the club or loan payments against future payments. And Sullivan never wants to spend money. It's what you said, 110 million. That's ridiculous.
It's and I think it will come down to when it comes to the stadium and selling the club. It all comes down to what the value is, right? Because the man is running. We need him to see the wood through the trees. We need him to see himself that he is decreasing the value of this club every day he stays here. Not only just by bad investments in the playing squad, but actually the support of the fans. Yeah, you need the support of the fans. Yeah, people don't like him. No. I'm going to reiterate that people hate him. Yeah. They hate his guts. They hate him, and they hate his business partner. So anything that they try to do to implement or to try to make up for it, people just are not accepting it, and rightly so, because every chance he gets, he will fuck you over. He will fuck us over, right? Every chance he's got. It proved it last year by the concessions, right? The man will fuck us over the moment he gets a chance, and so will Karen Brady, right? They will fuck us over. So people hate them. So anything they try to do in a business sense now, that's not to do with the playing squad, because we'll never affect the playing squad, they won't have any support. As I said, they've told so many lies and killed this fan base so many times, and the stadium has killed every time. Even when we started to make an atmosphere there, they built a wall. Like, they want to kill this club. Like, they've done everything in their power to kill this club. It's criminal what they've done. Like, and the fact that people are going on TalkSport, Ned, and going on there and telling them that they want him out, and people started to recognise that the David Croft thing was a massive thing the other day. I don't know whether you see the F1 when he sort of highlighted the problems on mainstream TV, but that's massive. People saying we died when we left Upton Park. There are remnants of that. You can't die unless your fans leave, and that's the problem now. They're walking away. You can't die, right? It doesn't matter. We could play over the park. I'd go and watch them. I hate the stadium. I've always hated the stadium. But this is the issue now. It is not the money that they've invested. They just invested it badly. Why have they invested it badly? Because of decisions David Sullivan has made where and when to invest them. That's it. Like, he has got no support anymore. He should be brought up on criminal charges. He should be brought up on the Trades Description Act on what he sold people on their season tickets. Look at the artist impressions of what that stadium was going to look like, and look what we fucking got. It's criminal. It's criminal what he's done. He's got a lovely mill place up in the thing. He's got a lovely corporate box. It's beautiful up there. I've been up there. It's lovely. It's better than Upton Parks. Try sitting in the fucking stands. Yeah. It's fucking shite. But that's it. Yeah. Sorry, boys. Sorry, I ranted on.
No, pleasure, and pleasure for having me on. Appreciate it.
No, so thank you so much for your call, mate. It's really appreciated. We're going to give away some OK jerseys, Ned. If you win one, I'll send you a code for it, mate. And so we're gonna pick the best caller. But thank you so much, mate. I appreciate it.
Have a good one, guys. Thank you.
Cheers, mate. Take care.
What do you think about that, Scott?
Hey, mate.
What do you think about that?
I know. Do you know what, though? The thing that does me, Nick, is we just can't seem to move forward from everything, can we? Do you know what I mean? As fans, it's the same problems year after year after year, and it just all stems back way back to the dream that we were sold that never materialized, you know. And this is the problem, you know. As bad as things can be on the pitch and things like that, you know, it does all stem back to the owners, no matter what way you look at it. You know, you can take the thought, you can blame the players for certain things, you can blame the ground for certain things, you can blame the manager for certain things, but at the end of the day, it all stems back to the ownership and the bad choices that they've made. And like you said, they've done everything to benefit themselves, nothing to benefit the football club. And this is the big problem. And for us as supporters that have been there for a while, and you know, people coming through, you know, everyone now is seeing it. You know, the media never saw it. The media saw the glitz and the glamour of this London stadium. Oh, you're getting it for a couple of million a year, blah blah blah, and all that type of stuff. They bought into the lies that we were told. We realised very quickly that these lies were lies.
Yeah.
And now the tide's slowly turning, but it's turning at the worst time for us at the moment because how bad it is on the football pitch.
Right, Scotty, I've got a problem here. I can't move my mouse. The computer is frozen completely. Can you still see me?
Yep.
Yeah. Right. I need to come out, come back in. Right.
Yep.
Can you hold down the fault? There's a caller on the line. Can you click him in?
Yeah, no worries. Right. Hang on. Let me bring Barry in.
Right. I've got an issue. I've got to sort this out.
Mate, go.
Hello, mate.
Hello, Barry, mate.
Can you
right?
Yeah, wonderful. You?
Yeah, not bad, mate. Not bad. Nicky's got to try and duck out. He's frozen at a minute.
Yeah, I think. Yeah.
Right. So go on, mate. I'm not used to hosting these ones, but what you got to say, mate?
Well, it's just I'm a long boy. I've been going with 50 odd years, and this is the worst I've ever known it. The trouble is, we've got no assets to sell. We don't own a ground, don't own a training facilities, and what we've got ain't worth a rub. He stripped us bare, and I will go back. And people, I don't know if people know or what they can remember. When I was on about moving before, they said we had there was no plans to expand the ground. Well, that's bullshit, because the plans were in place to build a cantilever stage over where the buses went.
Yeah.
Right, that would take the capacity up. So all what Sullivan come out with that we couldn't expand all this, and I actually blame the three of them, and I blame Gold as well, because it don't wash me because he was born across the road. Does it make him any better than me and you? No, it don't.
No.
Also, we sell the ground, the bus garage is gone. Strange that, isn't it? You know what I mean? They're in it. Look, they're in it for any pound they can get, and we were warned by Birmingham. No one took no notice, and I'm probably oblivious to that as well. And nothing will ever change over here while they're in control of that club. No. I mean, how he's got. I mean, the only good thing now, he don't even come on telly. But then you look at the opposite side. What we got coming next? His boy. Yeah. But he's run that club from top to bottom, because he done the ladies team, threw that in. Oh, he worked in the shop, didn't he, for a week? The ticket office for a day. That's what chance have you got? And who in their right mind would buy that club? I just can't see it. I can't see it.
This is the thing, and this stems back like what you were saying. You know, we were told, we can't expand the stadium, we can't get planning permission because of the bus garage, because of the houses over the back. You know, like you said, the bus garage quickly disappeared. The flats that you've got there now stand higher than what the stands did. So there's nothing about looking at people's light. You know, it was just excuses. You know, and that's how I look at it. Every excuse that they could come up with, alongside probably with the council, you know, they probably turned around and said, "Listen, we don't really want to build this stadium. You're going to have this massive white elephant of a athletic stadium. We want to take it, but we need to sell it to the fans. So the way for us to sell it to the fans is to say, you won't let us build for planning permission, the bus garage." You know, all these little things that they put into place so that they could push through this move that effectively benefited them.
Yeah, but I mean, they're saying, even going to a new place, right? I mean, what I got, we no further away from the pitch than what you are already. I'll tell you what, in that close season, my eyes must have got really bad, because I am further back, right? So, all right, it's my own fault. I didn't go and pick my seat. Someone done it for me, but I'll get by with that. But you go over there now. There's nothing like a football ground. You go down at half time. There's not a telly up. You know what I mean? At least you go down, look at the other scores at the old ground. Nothing.
Yeah.
There ain't nothing down there. And I'll tell you now, I've never spent a penny in that ground, and I refuse to. I ain't paying £9 for a flat pint of beer and 15 quid for an hot dog. You know what I mean? I refuse.
Yeah.
You know, and I'm sorry, but I wouldn't piss on him. Well, and I'll say goal and all, although he ain't with us no more. I wouldn't piss on him if they was on fire. In fact, I'll throw more petrol on. That's how much I hate the man. I do. That's horrible to say and bad language, I know. And I said to someone the other day, I know it's even more wicked, the best thing that Gold did was die. And the best thing this bloke can do is follow him. Because that's the only way we're going to get him out of his club. But I want to know, and I'm sorry, and people will probably jump on me back, where's the post office man in all this? Is he the investor? Is he going to take us forward? Where's Mark Noble? Surely, Mr. West Ham, what he said, we're not run like a circus. Where is he? Come out and said nothing. Because they're all frightened of Sullivan and their jobs. And that's what you want. You want that to turn inside that ground. You know what I mean? All these corporate people, all the players that walk through. And I've been over there. I've sat over there with my mate. And every now and then I still get a seat in the corporate bit. And they all walk through. They're not going to rock the boat because they're earning a few quid. We know that. And it's the same as Noble. It's gone off the radar, hasn't it?
Yeah.
But they get away with it.
This is the big problem. Is we had that point where Nobes sort of he stood up to the ball, didn't he? That time when we sold Diagana off and that type of thing. Okay, maybe when we look back at it now, okay, Diagana didn't go on to be the player that we was expecting, but we saw Noble stand up and put his head above the parapet and turn around and say, look, we ain't going to stand for this as West Ham people. And like you said, now he seemed to have put his head back down again. He's just getting on with things because for me, things now seem to be a lot worse than they were before.
I think so, yeah. And I just can't see how they can pull it back.
Yeah.
Personally, I can't. I mean, there's a lot of disgruntled people over there. A lot of people don't go no more. I must admit, I didn't go the other night, Brentford. I boycotted it because that's my choice. Fortunately for me, I'm away on Friday. I'm going to Tenerife, so I'm going to miss a Newcastle game. So that's quite a result, isn't it? But, I'm walking out of that ground. Never in my life have I walked out of a football ground after 60 minutes to get the train home because I can't sit there and watch it no more.
No.
And you've got recruitment. Who does his recruitment? His two mates. I'd like that. What's that fella who had on the other week from Spain? He's Otto. What's his name? From Clareton Unit or wherever it is. Is it Clareton? That's him. Yeah. I'd love to get him back on and question that man. I really would. I mean, I used to go in long to this so years and years ago, but I see through them and come out of it because it's all, I won't say baloney what they come out with because they're Sullivan's mouthpieces, and that's the same as lot on that fans of Ivory Board. Who are they? Why don't they have the common man on there? You know what I mean? But they won't, would they? Because they're frightened of the truth. And I'd love to get in a room with Sullivan and Brady and say, "What, you tell me the truth?" Because I don't think you could. You wouldn't know if it smacked you in the face, the truth, would you? Because it's bullshit from day one.
Their own lives.
Of course they do.
Yeah.
And you say she's not even a shareholder, is she? She's an employee.
Yep.
And if you was that bad as an employee, any business I've ever worked in, they'd have had you out the door.
Barry, sorry, mate. I've just come in, so I don't really know what you're talking about. But I'm going to tell you. I'm going to give you an example of the lies that they tell themselves. Okay. In what walk of life, Barry, would you ever say that this stadium migration was successful?
You can't.
Has anything been successful? There's no success there whatsoever, right? And that's in 10 years. They paid her a bonus of £1.5 million for a successful stadium migration. Now, that to me, the competence level of that as a board level decision, right? To pay an employee £1.5 million, a part-time employee. Let's not forget, she gets paid a lot of money for not doing a lot. Right, a part-time employee, £1.5 million when it was successful, is the level of lying that they do to each other.
Yeah, Yeah, I mean, we were just saying, like, before, obviously, while he was well, I was just saying, you mate, the only hope he got if he dies, and that's what I should say, but I mean it. But then, does his son take over? And all he does is eat crowns, doesn't he? That's all he does. He's a crown eater. He is. That's what he is. I mean, and that's what you've got to look forward to. Why someone coming forward buying the gold shares? The post office man. I was saying, where's he in all this? Is he just looking for a quick buck to get out? Who knows? There must be an investor somewhere that wants that club. But what they're valuing at, I don't see how they can get that because we don't own nothing. Don't own nothing, do we? And I just can't see the situation getting any better while they stay at that club. And surely, I don't know how old he is now, Sullivan. He's only got one good shag in him with that bird. Surely that's got to be his lot, hasn't it? It's with a bit of luck, you know what I mean? She'll polish him off. Not in that way, but that's a bit harsh. But I've lived my life. I've had 64 years of that shit.
Yeah.
63 days a year then and 5 minutes, sorry, but yeah, but it's never going to change. I'll go home and away. I'll see you a lot away, Nicky, away games. And just think, why do I really bother sometimes? You know what I mean? I love the away games more than I do the home games.
I was just about to say that. I was just about to say exactly the same thing. When I look at the calendar now, and this never used to be the case. I look for the away games rather than home games. I'm going to enjoy them more, and I know that the atmosphere is going to be there, and I know I'm going to be around people that actually support West Ham. And that's what I look for nowadays.
Put it like the other day. Sorry, 2 people in front of me, right? I think the geezer spent more time on his iPad, right, than what he did looking. I had 2 Americans behind me. Beside me, saw it, and they were actually asking questions because obviously the first time this is. I said, no, it's not soccer, it's football. Right, we play football over here. You play. I don't know what you play over there, but we play football. And they was asking about the teams in London because they didn't really know. So obviously they're tourists. I'm not going to knock them for going, but I'll give you an example. Last year against Chelsea? Chelsea at home. I went outside for a smoke at half time. I was standing there, and 3 people walked up. The girl had a Chelsea shirt. So I'm saying to the steward through the fence, said, mate, don't let her in. It's just kicked off down below me with a Chelsea supporter. I don't care if she's winning. Man, I went, what's up to you? All of a sudden, the bloke turned around and went to me like that. I said, well, come out, mate, if you want to round. I'm not bothered. But you can't let them in. Oh, no, but they got tickets. It's wrong. You're selling your tickets back and all that, selling it back on. I never sell a ticket back at that club. I won't get ripped off by them. I'd rather my seats stay empty.
Yeah.
And I'll say, the only thing I've got a concession ticket and I've got sounds funny, a carer. So if you want to come over one week for a game, you can wipe my chin, you've got a free seat with me. You know what I mean? I can't take them in. But that's the only thing because it was fought for. Other than that, you know what I mean? What I don't know I really don't know what the answer is. I mean, it's rotten from top to bottom. Top to bottom. They want to go in there, clear all that deadwood, and I mean deadwood, and I'll even go as far as to look at the staff that we know of ex-players because they're doing sod all they're doing is picking up their paycheck. They're not worried about the likes of me and you, Nicky, or your mate, or Dan, or anybody else. They're not worried. They couldn't give shit if you turn up this week, next week, or 3 weeks' time. As long as they get arseholes on seats, and believe me, they get a lot of them over there, don't they now? So, and so I know it's a bit harsh what I've said, but, I am really pissed off with them. And I have been since I went over there. I hate to walk to the ground. I hate to walk back to the station to get my train home. Hate it. And it's nothing there that tells me, it's a football ground here. There's nothing, is there?
No.
You walk down there, Go on,
Barry,
sorry.
what would you say, right? Now, we were talking about this the other day. In terms of what we own, it's reported that they wanted £800 million. It's reported that it's going to be well over £1 billion that they want for a club now, right? What would you say the true value of it is? What would you say he should be asking for? Because let me put it this way, right? Our playing squad is absolutely diabolical at the moment, right? There's barely any value in there. We've sold anyone of value. We've got no ground. We don't get any sort of concessions. I'm talking about popcorn and all of that shit that they sell. We don't get any money from all of that, right? We do own our own merchandising. Obviously, we've got our own training ground, which we've got loans against. So there's, it's heavily in debt. As the last caller just said, we just took out a loan based on future Premier League earnings, what would you say, right, he should ask that club? Because the less he asks, the more someone will come in and buy it, right? So it's down to him, really, yeah? And this is why I think that the pressure should carry on however it is, because he's got to make the decision to get out, right? Regardless of whether we agree with it, whether we're going to protest, at the end of the day, the final decision is his, right? And I think the massive decision of whether someone will be interested in buying it will be the price that they buy it for. You know, people saying they won't build a stadium, They probably won't build a stadium to pay £1 billion for it. But let's say, for instance, he said, look, he held up his hands and he turned around and went, I can't run this football club anymore. I can't run it, right? I'll take 100 million quid for it now because it's going down the pan and someone needs to sort it out. What would you say the true value of the club is? Because you're only talking about this is the only thing that's worth
2 or 3 million, 2 or 300 million, and that's tops. Because you say they own nothing. You're buying. All you're buying is, you're right, the badge. The team will move on. The team, half of them will get sold. Half of them don't want to be there. You know what I mean? So what assets on the pitch have we got? Paqueta, you're going to get pittance for him when he goes in the summer.
Yep.
Bowen, I can see Bowen going. That's your 2-star men. Who else we got? And you could put that team in any, probably, I'd say, championship or even lower, because that's how bad they are. You know, 80 million on 2 centre backs.
That you can't kick the ball. No, I'll be honest with you, mate. I think if we went down the championship with the same squad, including Paqueta and Bowen, I don't think we've got the bollocks to get back out of it. And that's the God's honest truth. You can have all the talent in the world, but that league takes bollocks. And that's what we got last time. If you look at when we got relegated the last time, what did we get in? We got in the likes of Papa Boupa Diop and the big centre back. I forget his name now. Abdoulaye Faye, was it?
Yeah.
You know, them proper old school players that are going to get you out of that. Yeah. These lot ain't never in a million years will get out of that championship.
I don't know what team you're going to pick Monday. If it's something like the last 2 games, then we're beaten before we go out. I think most games we're beaten before. I really do. I mean, I don't know what the Brazilian bloke. You got him there. Give him a game. He can't do no worse than the other 2.
Yeah,
he can't. If not, put Souček back there. At least he can head a ball. Yeah. Fine, we know he's slow, but at least he can head a ball. But give the other geezer a go. He's a centre half. So why do you sign a centre? I know it's the other bloke's deal, but play him. It just seems there's something not right over there. You know, you bring Wilson, you won't play him because he's going to cost us money. But why buy him in the first place? We didn't buy, we got on a free transfer. You know, if not, I'd rather us go down and blood the youth players. Yeah. At least you can build with them next season. And it proved it the other night when Potts and Fernandes come on. They turned the game for us.
Yeah, changed it. Yeah,
they did change it. And, you know, the fullback, he can whip across him, but that's about all he can do at the moment. You know, I've got to work on his defending. You know, I don't know what. I really don't know what the answer is. The only answer is they've got to go. And obviously now they don't come on the radio no more on talk shite, do they? You know, he don't come on there no more. He's got in hiding, to me, the little bloke. And you know, with little cronies, Siltman and Salterhouse, who's the biggest crook going. He's allegedly Siltman. I know it for years before he was over there. So I know of him. And, you know, that's the sort of people he's in bed with.
Yeah.
Get that player there. We'll give you 10 million. I'll take 2 million backhander. Allegedly. I keep saying allegedly because you never know what a little man's watching, do you? Or his little spies. Yeah. But you've got to get that bloke. You've got to get that bloke back on. Winston, whatever his name is.
Funny enough, we're trying to line him up for this week.
Because,
we are, yeah.
Before Friday, we've gone out to Tenerife Friday, so I'll miss it.
Yeah, well, Dan's working on it right now, but
yeah, get him on your.
There's a couple of comments here, which Chelsea sold for £1. That was obviously when they was going under. At the minute, this club's going under, so it could be a peppercorn payment like that. Text to bid £400 million for Wolves, says Glenn, aka Mush. Yeah, you know, Wolves at the time were a Premier League club. They don't look like they're going to be a Premier League club with us next year, so that decreases the value. But they own their own ground. That's the difference. You know,
We own nothing. I mean, we don't own nothing, do we?
No, we don't own
all
it.
we own is we only own the badge, and that's it. Not even the shirt they wear. We own the badge.
Yeah,
Because the shirt changes every year anyway.
That's
So,
right.
Do you know the mad thing is when you look at us now, right? We're a bit like a franchise, aren't we, in America in the NFL, where you can just pick us up, take us out of London, stick us in Birmingham, Newcastle, somewhere like that, start again. That's how it feels. You just pick the club up, move it, because there's no assets. Like you said, it's just a team. You just go anywhere around the country, set up thingy. It's the same team. That's how they're looking at it.
I mean, look, we know the geezer's got no morals. I know that. You know it. We all know he's got no morals about him whatsoever. You know, he's in it for money. But sometime or other, somebody, you must have a conscience. Someone say, "Hello, I've took this now for a few quid. That's as far. I've had enough money out of it. Let's see what I can do with it." There's got something must prick in his conscience, and surely, if you get the Crown Eater in after him, you're even more trouble if your son takes over, aren't you? That's all we've got, and you've got to get her out, Brady. She's as bad as what he is. They're poison, absolute poison. And I heard you say earlier on, get him under the Tracy Scripps Act, because that's what should happen.
Yeah.
Or try and get the Premier League involved and say, are these fit for their owners? Because. So I don't know. Anyway, took up too much of your time. I do apologise.
No. But we really appreciate it, Bill. We're giving away some shirts at the end, so we'll try and send you a code if you're the best caller of the night.
I'm a very plump person. Put it that way.
Oh my mate, but look, I'm all right.
You're slim to me.
Well, thank you so much, mate. Really appreciate it.
Thank you very much for taking me call. I appreciate it.
Pleasure
Cheers,
talking
mate.
to you.
Cheers.
Thank you very much. Great call. I didn't hear a lot of it, so you'll have to summarise it. But I did hear. Look, John Morgan here says, "I heard Paqueta wants out in January." Tony Angelino is in the room waiting to come in, so we're going to get him in any second now. But just before we do that, I heard today Paqueta wants out in the January transfer window. Scott, would you take Paqueta leaving in the January transfer window to rebuild a defence, because he ain't doing fuck all up front?
I'm a big fan of Paqueta's, and listen, he don't get away scot-free with some of the performances that he puts in, but I don't think we utilise him, and I don't really see this manager utilise him either.
I'm not saying he's a bad player. When he's on strong, he's one of the best in the world, right?
Yeah.
In that position, but we ain't got the tools for him to work with.
No, and that's the thing, mate. And that's the big problem. We haven't. So he's the best way to utilise Paqueta to cash in on him. So you can go and rebuild and things like that. But the problem for me, Nick, is a problem we've seen time and time again. Do we trust the board to, one, reinvest that money, and two, to do the due diligence and get the correct players that we need, not the players that are recommended to them? That's the sticking point.
No. Yeah. Glenn also says, I think investors are now in waiting to see our outcome. Now it's in the balance. Relegation administration will open a lot of eyes on wallets like Sheffield Wednesday. So there you go. Yeah. Let's get Tony in. He's going to be the final caller of the night, unless it's a really short one and someone else comes in. But Tony, how are you, mate? What do you want to say?
Well, based on the question, would it be a blessing or a disaster? It would be a disaster. I can't say anything else. When I was younger, I'm from the north of England. When I was younger, me and a couple of friends, we were Crewe Alex supporters because we're from Crewe, and we decided to pick Premier League teams. I picked West Ham, another one picked Derby, another one picked Sheffield Wednesday. And the horror stories I get from them two, I don't want to go down to the Championship. Fuck that. It's awful. And there's no guarantee we'll get back. If we were a club that was a yo-yo club and we were planning things correctly for the chance of going down, then maybe. I don't think there's any preparation for us ever going down. I don't think we're financially sound, and I don't know how quick we'd come back. I really don't.
I mean, the pros are going down, and I know people are going to laugh. The pros are going down. A lot of debt goes because it gets referred. the players that we don't want that are on big money, like the last time, will be gone, and staff as well. Staff will be gone. There's going to be what's the other thing that I was thinking of? There are a few pros of it, everything halves. So anyone that wants to stay gets a reduction in their wages.
We might see us win now and again.
Might see us win now and again. But yeah, it's like a big reset. But the dangers are obviously you don't come back up, and then when we're in that championship with that stadium and more people are dwindling away, it's going to become more and more of the sort of the elephant in the room, isn't it? Got this big stadium, was meant to go to the next level. Now they're sitting in the championship. It doesn't attract people when there's half empty stadiums. It doesn't. And we'd be fucked financially in the long run if, because, although them loans probably get deferred and we have to stop making payments based on Premier League ones, they don't get deferred forever. They get deferred. They don't get cancelled. So they'll come looking for their money at some point. And when all your assets are gone and you've blown all the money trying to get back up, that's why people like Coventry and things got in the position they was in. It's taken them a long time to rebuild. Leeds, Leeds threw too much money at it and tried to buy glory, and they become unstuck. And it's sort of a position like us, really, is that they was sort of like dwindling around a little bit, successful European nights. And listen, we never had Champions League nights, but Champions League nights as well, right? And then all of a sudden, it all caught up to them, like a bit like us, a bit like Leicester. Yeah, it all catches up in the end, and you have a couple of months of playing badly and not being able to sort things out, and then all of a sudden you're too far away and you get relegated, and it's fucking difficult to come back up, and then you're bouncing up and down, up and down, up and down. So yeah, that is the pros and cons of it. Do I think that we'll survive? No, I don't. I don't think the club survives, and that is the worst thing I could think of. I don't think the club has got the facilities and the management to take it. Somebody just said there may be people looking at it and thinking to themselves, I might take a punt on it. We've seen people take punt on clubs before, mate, and do fucking worse. When you're dwindling around that bottom, like, they come in, they pay, much less than the club's valued at. They think they can take it up and make it worth a lot more money. And they're the sort of people like Sullivan who prey on bad fortune. And if they can't sort it out, they can just walk away from it. They just, fuck it, They're not left there with 125, 127, whatever it is now, 130 years of history. They can just come in one year and then, leave it in a mess like Sullivan has over the last 10 and walk away. And that is the fear for me. That is the fear that, this club will become a sort of a damaged asset. There's an unrecoverable asset where there's so much damage been done that you can't. There's nothing you can do now. He's taken us too far down the path. As the first caller said, we haven't got the stadium. Like, the stadium was a big selling point for a lot of people coming to Upton Park. It was a treasure of a place. It was a magic place. Yeah, that people come and they fell in love with it. And it's one of them places where you come and you fell in love with everything about it. The gritty streets, the location it was in, the people that go there, the tightness of it, the atmosphere, the intimidating factor. There's no selling point there anymore with the ground. It's the Olympic Stadium. It's like a museum. You don't fall in love with a fucking museum, do you? You know what I mean? So that's my fear. That's my fear, that it's gone too far down the road, and we our club surviving, unfortunately, is pinned on these people that are running the club, which I don't trust them. I wouldn't trust them with anything.
Yeah, I mean, if you get relegated, I don't know all the numbers involved, but you get like 2 years where you get a decent amount of parachute money, and if you don't make it back in those 2 years, you're the same as everybody else. Well, actually, you're worse off than the teams who've been promoted and relegated in those 2 years. So you're at a disadvantage against other teams that go regularly up and down. So if we do go down, we've got to come straight back up. And if we mess it up, I don't see us coming back for a while. I really
Yeah,
don't.
it'll be like getting on a trampoline. You got that one jump to grab back onto the ledge, and if you don't do that, mate, you ain't got the momentum anymore to be able to grab onto that ledge. Like you'd be bouncing up and down forever. Like it's sad to think. Barry Cook just said here we didn't sell our soul. And what I think he means there is we didn't sell our soul. And what I would say to Barry is the soul's still there, because the soul of a football club, although the ground was a massive part of it, the soul of the football club is down to the people that go. And that a lot of people would, a lot of these football clubs, they're selling you your own shit, really. They're teaching you to suck eggs because they're selling their football club based on on what you make it, not what they make it, what you make it. And he's right. We didn't sell our soul. They've sold our soul for us. And what we need to do is we need to get the soul back in any way we can. And the first step of that is to get the people out that have tried to kill it. And that is what we've got to do. And that is why these protests are so important.
If we do get relegated, I've heard people think that if we get relegated, he'll sell the club. He won't, because he wants the most money for it.
Yeah.
So he'll keep it until we manage to finally get back, and then he'll flog it if we get back.
Yeah.
But I've heard people talk about like, oh, we get relegated, he'll have to sell. He's not going to sell. He's going to hang fire and wait, hope we get back, and then try and sell it. I don't think it'll change anything getting relegated, except, well, it could change a lot of stuff, but it won't change the ownership, I don't think.
Yeah. No.
That's the thing. What he'll rely on is us bouncing straight back, getting back into the Premier League, then that income of the Premier League money coming back in and it makes us more of an attractive asset again. And that's what he's doing. We go down, he cuts the wage bill, like Nick was saying. So much stuff gets cut, which then increases the value of the club because it's less being paid out. Then you get that big promotion back to the Premier League, which you'll be relying on with the extra TV revenue. And then you look at the books and the way the books will be balanced out. The profit coming in will be more than what's being paid out because of the low wages that the players will be on, the staff will be on, and things like that. Again, it increases the asset of the club and makes the club more sellable. So that's probably what he's looking at from that standpoint, that if we do go down, it's not going to be the end of the world. He'll happily invest a couple of quid to get us back up.
Yeah,
but
he'll try it. He'll try it.
Yeah.
He'll try it. But what worries, and you got to look at this as well, right? Even when we was at Upton Park, get relegated in 2002, 2003 with a much better squad than we got now, right? Some of them players miles better, miles and miles better, right? So we get relegated. So it can happen. Most points we ever relegated, right? Did we bounce straight back up? No, we stayed down there for a season. You know why? Because people see us as the big fish. We're the trophy, to get them. But people go to that, and that London Stadium will not only, it won't deter people, it will egg them on. You know what I mean? That's like playing at a cup final stadium. Yeah, you see it in the Premier League, like the lower teams come here and they fucking give their all and they beat us there. We can't make it home because it's like a neutral venue, right? So imagine that in a Championship. Teams that are playing at grounds that have got 5,000, all of a sudden they turn up to a 65,000 seat stadium that looks like Wembley. They're going to have the day out of their lives
with no one in it. It's like when you move in a new house and the room's empty.
Yeah.
And you're talking, it's just an echo. There's going to be no one there.
Because we will be the big fish. And I know that sounds fucking arrogant because, there are teams down there like Sheffield Wednesday who I would class as a bigger club than us, But there are teams down there like Sheffield Wednesday and teams like Blackburn who have won the Premier League, Leicester that have won the Premier League. I'm not saying that they're not bigger clubs enough. I think but we become the big scalp. They're the ones that let's go there and show them Cockney bastards exactly what these fucking Northerners are like and all that. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah, that's what we're
like. You know what I mean? We become. In fact, every season that we've played in the Championship in the Premier League era, we've struggled to come back. We've come back through the playoffs twice. We've never gone
those
down.
First two seasons, we didn't even get past 6th or 7th, did we? If I remember rightly.
No, that's right. Yeah. So we go down there. It's not like we've gone down there and dominated. We haven't. Even under Allardyce, we didn't. We come up through the playoffs. It's difficult. And I don't think we're equipped to come back up at all.
No. And the other thing you got to remember, Nick, as well, is that our away support sells out every single away game. And for a lot of champions, especially the smaller Championship clubs, that's massive revenue for them coming in. That away section being sold out every single game. And like you said, this is it. again, it sounds very big-headed from our point of view, but there's clubs in that championship that will want us to stay down there because of that extra revenue that they will generate on that single away game.
Yeah.
It's crazy the way it all works.
Yeah. That's it. There we go. Tony, thanks so much for your call, mate. We're going to start wrapping up now. So appreciate your call. Thank you very much. Right. Cheers, let's ask the chat. Who was the caller of the night? Because we're going to send them a code for an OK jersey.
I see we had a couple of new members pop up as well.
Yeah, yeah. Scott, you should read them out when they come up, mate, because I'm busy chatting.
I was listening.
Alfie Harvey, thank you so much to become a new YouTube member. Thank you very much. Matt Rainey's renewed, I think. And he's also putting a super chat in there as well. We died in 2016. Sold a dream, my last season ticket done. I think a lot of people like that, mate. There was another super chat as well. Edward Turner came on. Ned here, thanks again for having me on. Thanks. I think he's trying to bribe us there. I think he's trying to bribe us for a shirt. But it's, it's down to the viewers who wins the shirt today. Glenn, aka Mush, becomes a new member. Alan Dunn become a new member. Thank you very much. You can click the memberships down below if you want to become a member to this channel. It helps us out greatly. Pully Walnuts MBE says WHF TV should put a bid in with all the super chat revenue. Well, I've never seen you put in a super chat, Pauline. You bear every week. So yeah, it's about time. Maybe you can be a part owner if you give us some super chats. But there we go. Who was Barry? A lot of Barrys.
Second caller Barry, yeah, Barry.
Barry, yeah, second caller Barry, yeah, a lot of Barrys. So yeah, we're gonna give that to get Bazza. Yeah, Bazza. That's fucking bad. Medical Sam, the old geezer. I'm not involved. But yes, Barry will be getting a code. So Barry, get back in touch, mate. And we'll give you the code for the shirt. Fortune Always Island TV, become a new YouTube member. Thank you very much. Scott, final thoughts?
Right.
Okay, yeah, okay. Right, let's do this because you wanted to have a little rant today, didn't you? As well, you had something to say the other day, right? Isn't Scott accepting Nicky's apology?
What apology?
So I apologise. It just shows you how much he watches, doesn't it? I apologised for what I said on Friday Night Pint. I said to you that, you said about Nuno having to go, and I said, come on, he ain't going to pick that same team again. And he did.
Yeah, he did. He did.
So are you accepting my apology?
I accept your apology, mate. I accept it. Do you know what, though, right? The annoying thing is, mate, I didn't want you to have to apologise. This is the thing. I could not see going into that game the other night him doing exactly the same thing as what he did against Brentford.
That's crazy, isn't it? It's crazy.
Honestly, you know, like, because we were in the chat, like, back and forth and stuff like that, and you know how angry I was after that Brentford game, how angry I was at the start of that game, and then what I see in that first 20 minutes. And as I said, right, this pains me to say this, right, I feel so sorry for Ollie Scholes. So sorry for Ollie Scholes. But when he went down injured, I was happy he had to be substituted. But then it turns out he was going to substitute him anyway, right? And this is the thing with me with Nuno, what he's come in and what he's doing. And this is why I still stand by at the moment, the fraud thing that I said the other day. He has ruined that young kid. Absolutely ruined it. Leeds' his right-hand side, left-hand side, sorry. It's one of their strongest points. So he puts two players, unnatural footing on that side. He puts young Ollie Scholes, right? And then Somerville that doesn't work back all the time against their stronger side, yeah? And then literally within 20 minutes, if Scholes hadn't gone down, he's dragging off the pitch. How detrimental is that to a young kid that's still bedding himself into the Premier League, still bedding himself into the team and things like that? He's been in and out. It's ruining him. He's absolutely ruined the kid just to try and prove himself right in what he was doing against Brentford. Listen, as I said, I missed out on doing post-match pint because I had my kids and all that and was running around doing different pieces, right? But the players are diabolical. I'm watching players jog. I watched Irvine let people run past him. Souček's getting all the pelters on social media, and that geezer's letting people walk past him. He watches them. I don't want to see him in. Look, whether he's a great trainer, he's probably a great guy, but I don't want to see him in a West Ham shirt ever again.
I'm a great guy. I mean, I should be playing in central midfield.
This is it, right? This is the thing. He shouldn't play ever. He shouldn't pull that shirt on for that club ever again, right? Souček, he just gets hung out to dry. He's an easy target for people, but he shouldn't be playing in that midfield. And then it goes to show we put natural right back, we have a natural left back. And Juve ain't going to get away from it because there was times I watched him watch players jog past him. So he's another one who needs to stand up, be counted. Nuno for the set pieces. What are you doing allowing Paqueta to be marking a centre half? Basic football. Big fella marked by a big fella. Keep it simple. Why are we thinking it? But again, Paqueta, too easy to let people pass him. And this is the thing. And this is what I said, mate. He's got a lot to do. Don't fancy Callum Wilson, but shit, we're 2-0 down. I'm going to throw him on at the expense of a young kid who I've played out of position twice.
Yeah.
I'll stand by what I said. The guy's got a lot to do to win me back round. I'm not interested. I see that team again. I ain't there for Newcastle because I've got the boys and all that, so I can't make it. But if I'm at a home game and I see that team again, I'm going to walk out before the ball's even kicked. I'll tell you that now.
I do agree. It's got back to the speech of his life and leave for an holiday with a mic drop. But there we go. Thank you very much for joining us on the calling show. Scotty, thank you very much for coming on. It's been a pleasure.
Cheers, mate.
Thank you to all the callers. And we will be going to do it again this week. We are trying, right? We are trying to get Sean Whetstone on. We're trying on a show this week. So, look, watch out for that. We're going to try. We've got a big announcement on Sunday, I believe it is, or Monday after Sunday. So watch out for that. And it involves a legendary goalkeeper of this football club. So there we go. There's little trailer coming and all of that. And a couple of us are going away somewhere in a couple of weeks. So thank you very much. There is also, before we go, thank you to OK Jerseys. As I said, click the QR code, use 8% discount for code Nicky. But there is also 20 more tickets been released for the sold out Brewdog show with us next Thursday at Brewdog Upminster. And I'm sure we can put that, if you look at the Brewdog website or the Brewdog Upminster Twitter or the social medias, there's 20 more tickets been released right now. So get them because they're going quick. They went quick the first time. And there's a load of shirts we've got going there as well if you want to get one of them. But thank you very much. One thing left to say. Come on, you on.